Welcome to Dark Dialogue Distilled, the show where we take all of your favorite Dark Dialogue episodes and distill them down to just the facts. If you want a more in-depth story, be sure to check out our other episodes on Dark Dialogue's main channel or Dark Dialogue Rocky Mountain Reckoning. Enjoy!
Welcome to Dark Dialogue, where we dive into the mysteries that defy answers and try to give voices to the voiceless. I'm your host, John.
And I'm his co-host, Angela.
Today, we're stepping into a case that's as brilliant as it is brutal. The murder of Candace Hiltz. She was 17-year-old prodigy from Fremont County, Colorado. A single mom with dreams of the Supreme Court. Gunned down in her home on August 15th, 2006. What starts as a shocking crime spirals into a decade of suspicion, corruption allegations, and a family's relentless fight for justice. This is a deep dive, every detail that we could find, every twist, every shadow, so buckle up. This one's a marathon. So who is Candace Hiltz? Candace, or Candy Hiltz, was born on December 22nd, 1988 in Canyon City, Colorado. She was the youngest of 7 kids in a tight-knit family. She's a prodigy from the jump, doing calculus by age 11.
Insane.
Yeah. Mind that doesn't just shine, it blazes. By 16, she's a junior at Brigham Young University, taking online classes, and she gets accepted to Stanford Law School.
At 16.
At 16. Her dream? She wants to be a Supreme Court justice. Her mom, Dolores, told the Canyon City Daily Record in 2017, Candy was a gift. Fiercely loyal, outspoken, funny. She's the baby who dressed down her 9 older brothers if they crossed her. So, Angela, did you hunt up some information on Canyon City and the Copper Gulch area where Candace lived?
Some. I got some. So, Canyon City, Colorado, with a current population estimate of 17,241 people, it is one of the 13 cities that make up Fremont County, Colorado, has a colorful description to say the least. On one hand, it is known for the beauty of the majestic Royal Gorge and the iconic suspension bridge, which is the highest suspension bridge in America at 956 feet above the Arkansas River. It was constructed in early 20th century in just 7 months by a team of 80 men. Do not know. These guys were eating their Wheaties. 7 months?
You are not kidding me.
Really. Apparently, there are several different ways to view the scenery of the gorge, depending on your preferred level of thrill. Sky coaster, zip lines, or aerial gondolas. Now, on the other very different hand, Fremont County is known as Colorado's correctional capital, affectionately, or maybe not so affectionately, referred to as Prison Valley, because of the substantial amount of state and federal correctional facilities. 15 if you're keeping count. One of these facilities is the only federal supermax prison in the United States that carries the nickname Alcatraz of the Rockies. So, as of March 2015, Fremont County, Colorado leads the nation among all counties as one with the largest proportion of incarcerated people. Prisoners are counted as part of the county population in the census and make up approximately 20% of the county's population. So on that note, let's let John take us back to the story at hand and learn how one of those residents, or more, need to be incarcerated in one of those facilities.
Perfect. Thank you, Angela.
You're welcome.
So as we dive back into the story, we need to step back a bit. So back to the late 1980s and early 1990s and into the rugged heart of Fremont County, Colorado, where Candace Hiltz, known to her family as Candy, came into the world. Candace is the youngest of 7 in the Hiltz family. A brood that is shaped by loss and resilience. Her childhood is where her story begins, and it's a tapestry of genius, grit, and a bond with a chaotic, loving plan. Let's dive into every detail that we can unearth about those formative years. So Candace arrives as a baby with 6 older siblings, all boys with the exception of one sister. So they tower over her in age and in size. There's James, or Jimmy, closest to her in this story later, and he's born in 1977. He's already 11 when she's born. And others stretching back to the early 70s. We have Jonathan, David, Casey, names that pop up in family accounts. Dolores Hiltz, her mom, is the Rock and is originally from Canyon City, raising her 7 kids after her husband, Candace's dad, dies in 1993 when Candy was just 5. Dolores is a nurse. She's tough, working long shifts at St. Thomas More Hospital and moving the family to a house on Copper Gulch Road, 25 miles southwest of town. A woodsy retreat backing up to the wilderness. It's a fresh start. But money's tight, and the kids learn to fend for themselves.
7 kids, I'd imagine.
Yeah, 7 kids, a single mother. I mean, she had to be putting in insane hours, you know. That Copper Gulch house shapes Candace's world. She's the baby. She's doted on, but she's scrappy. Growing up with brothers who wrestle and hunt and tease her. Heather Hiltz, who'd go on to marry Jonathan and become her sister-in-law, told the Canyon City Daily Record in 2017 that she was outspoken, funny, and she could dress down her brothers in a heartbeat. So picture her at 6, 7, 5'2" later, but already fierce and a tomboy in hand-me-down jeans and flannel, chasing the boys through the trees. She's not just tagging along, she's competing. She's lifting weights with them by age 10, bodybuilding a frame that's small but strong. But it's her mind that sets her apart. She's a brilliant prodigy in the vein of Dr. Reed to the Criminal Minds fans. By 1999, Candace is 11 and she's already tackling calculus, something I didn't even do in college. So
I don't do it ever now.
No,
never have
no.
done. No.
Even more impressive is she's self-taught. She's not in calculus classes.
She means business.
She's learning it on her own. So most kids are struggling with fractions, and she's graphing equations in a spiral notebook, sitting at the kitchen table. I mean, when I say that she's like Dr. Reed, she's like Dr. Reed.
Little Doogie Howser.
Yeah, like this kid would have probably had multiple degrees. I mean, she was accepted to Stanford Law at 16. I mean, brilliant.
Stolen
Absolutely
from
brilliant.
us.
Yeah. So Dolores said to the chieftain that she was a gift, always asking why, how. The Canyon City Middle School couldn't keep up with her brilliant mind. So she finds herself bored in class. She's way ahead. She's either a teacher's dream or a teacher's nightmare. She's likely smarter than the teachers. You know, and I'm serious.
Yeah.
Her cousin, Kathleen Pavia, told the Denver Post in 2017, Candy stood up to bullies. She hated injustice even then. She's got a moral compass, forged early, maybe from watching Dolores fend off life's blows or from watching Jimmy's struggles.
Jimmy, her brother.
Jimmy,
correct?
her
Okay.
brother. Yep. And Jimmy's a shadow in her childhood. He's 11 years older than her, a once happy-go-lucky kid, but he was sliding into paranoia and depression by the late 90s. He's still living at home when Candace is little, a big brother who teaches her to climb trees or skip rocks in the creek behind the house, but mental illness pulls him away until finally he's in and out at best. And usually by the time she's preteen teen, he's living in the woods.
Mm-hmm. He's kind of my spirit animal in the way of just ew people.
Yeah, yeah. And he really was. He just lived in the woods.
Mm-hmm.
Candace loves him fiercely. And Dolores said in 2017 that she would defend Jimmy to anyone. It's her first taste of loyalty, of fighting for family, even as he drifts into a world that she can't reach.
No one can.
No one can. Home life is a mix of chaos and warmth. Dolores works nights, so Candace learns to cook early, maybe burning pancakes at 8 for her siblings and laughing as smoke fills the kitchen. The boys are loud with motorcycles in the yard, weights clanging in the garage. Candace joins in, bench pressing with Jonathan, who's 20-something when she's 10. She's a tomboy, sure, but she loves jewelry, ball necklaces with beads. She had a girly streak amid the roughhousing.
Did you read why she loved those necklaces?
I don't think I did, no.
It's so she could tell people that she had more balls than her brothers, and some of them were bigger.
Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah, and that sounds like something that everything I learned about her, it sounds like something that would just come right out of her mouth too. And you know, as we learn about her family and everything, you think about like a white trash type of setup, but man, I'm telling you what, I've watched several interviews with Dolores, and I mean, she is stand-up, admirable woman. You can tell that she just worked her butt off.
Don't
her whole
judge a book
life.
by its cover, woman.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and every interview I saw with her, I just was extremely impressed.
Yeah.
I mean, she's just a rock solid, hard-nosed woman, you could tell. And I believe that she is one that would have had all those boys doing exactly what Mama said.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yep.
School's a blur. She's too smart for it. By 13 in 2001, she's in high school at Canyon City High. She's taking advanced placement classes while her peers gossip about prom. And around this time, she develops an obsession with the justice system. She's reading law books from the library, hating rights with anybody who would listen to her. And Stanford Law's her beacon. But Fremont County's no idol. It's tough. Economically depressed. It still is. You know, if you go downtown Canyon City, there's some neat little shops and stuff, and then there's a lot of closed businesses. Or at least when I was down there, it's been a few years, but a lot of stuff boarded up. It's just very economically depressed. Prisons employ at least half the residents. Almost everybody there is a prison guard.
Yeah, obviously.
There's just not a whole lot else to do there. Dolores' nursing gig is steady, but the Hiltzes scrape by. Candace sees it all. Poverty, addiction, crime stats glaring red on crimegrade.org years later. And, you know, this is, like you said, it's known as Prison Valley. Her story is featured on a series that's called Valley of the Damned. And the whole series is crime cases from this region because crime skyrocketed when they put all these prisons there.
Right.
Because they parole these guys right into the area. So it went from like no crime to out of control crime. And that's all the way across the valley. She's 14 in 2002 when she starts BYU online. So 14 years old, she's doing college online and taking junior level courses at 15. And my head's
exploding right
now. Oh, I know. And she's accepted to Stanford at 16. It's unheard of.
She's making me feel really tiny.
Yeah. I mean, she's brilliant.
Yeah. And beautiful, too.
And beautiful.
Beautiful.
Yeah, she was a super pretty girl. And it like I say, it's unheard of. Her brothers brag about her. Candy's the brain. And she's still lifting weights, still defending her brother Jimmy, who's living full time by this time in the woods. He's a ghost that she chases with food drops. And she did too. She'd take food out and leave it at set places. He'd come pick it up. And her childhood is a crucible. Loss at 5, genius at 11, purpose by 15. 2005, Candace is 16 years old and she's poised for greatness. 2005 would prove to be a pivotal year for Candace Hiltz. She's 16 at the time and, like we said, a junior at Brigham Young University. She's chasing her dream of becoming a Supreme Court justice, but then life throws her a curveball and she finds out she's pregnant. So this proves to be more than just a footnote. It's a turning point that defines her and her final year. We don't know much about how she got pregnant, as public records don't name the father outright, and the family has kept that piece close to the vest. Some sources say, and I tend to believe this point, that the father was her then boyfriend, Jesse Weaver. Others speculate about an unnamed older man, given Candace's age and Colorado's statutory laws. I couldn't find any police reports from 2005 to confirm that there was an investigation into her pregnancy, so we're left piecing it together.
I didn't hear anybody discussing it either.
Yeah.
Like, it was just, she got pregnant. Okay, move on.
I feel pretty certain that it's Jesse Weaver, and I'll tell you why in just a little bit.
Okay.
But what we do know is her getting pregnant was not in the plans.
No.
It hit hard. You know, imagine her standing 5'1", 5'2", feisty as hell, a tomboy who was raised with her 6 older brothers, and now she's facing a future that she didn't script. So Dolores told the Canyon City Daily Record in 2017 that Candace questioned her by saying, "Mom, how can I afford college and care for a baby?" And Dolores, a single mom herself after the death of Candace's dad and her husband, she promised that they would figure it out. She said, "It's your dream. We're going to make it work." Candace,
Mom.
Yeah, she's an awesome woman. You can just tell, you know, and Candace doesn't drop out of school. She's, you know, shifts everything to online, and she's balancing her books with growing belly. So pregnancy at 16 in a rural town is not easy, physically, emotionally, or socially.
Kind of been there.
Right? Fremont County is extremely conservative, so think small town values, church on Sundays, and whispers about a teen mom. Candace, though she isn't one to shrink, she's lifting weights, bodybuilding with her brothers, and now she's carrying a life. No records detail her prenatal care, but Dolores was a nurse, so she'd have made sure that Candace saw a doctor, likely at St. Thomas More Hospital in Canyon City. It's likely that during an ultrasound, sometime later in the pregnancy, Candace would learn that all was not well. Her baby had hydrocephalus, and that typically shows up around 20 weeks into the pregnancy. So that's around that time is likely when the hammer dropped that her baby may not survive. So plagued with developmental delays, surgeries, they might have to put a shunt into her skull. Candace is only 16. She's staring down Stanford, and now she has this. And Dolores said to the Denver Post that Candy was devastated, but turned it into love. She decided to put a pause on college. She didn't call it quits, but she merely paused it so that she could pour everything into her baby. And then on December 19th, 2005, Candace gave birth to a little girl. She's a miracle child. Her head might have been larger as hydrocephalus swells the skull. And for those that don't know, that's water on the brain. And
cerebrospinal fluid.
Yes. She can't walk. She probably will not be able to talk. But her smile, Dolores later told the chieftain, melted hearts. Candace names her Paige, simple, strong, and a name that sticks. Postpartum period's a blur for Candace. She's 16, healing. She has a terminally ill baby. But Dolores did say that she would be holding the baby, feeding it, writing her Stanford thesis. So she's literally not giving up that dream.
Is this girl?
Yeah, I mean, she's amazing. But Paige needs constant care. She has feeding tubes. She has tons of doctor's visits. They had to rig a crib special for her safety. So Candace is back living with Dolores full time. Her brothers help, Jonathan, David, the whole crew, but it's Candace who bundles Paige in the sled that winter, dragging her through the snow, making snow angels. Every week was a birthday, Dolores said. Candy knew time was short. Paige's prognosis said she could live hours, maybe days. Yet she defies it, getting 11 months by August 2006. And Candace doesn't go back to BYU that year. She's a mom first, and her justice dreams are on hold. But like I said, she's still working towards that goal. Pregnancy and motherhood did not dim her fire. I saw it reported. A matter of fact, I saw interviews with cops that said Candy and Jimmy did not get along. They were always at each other's throats, blah, blah, blah. The family,
I heard that too.
Completely opposite.
Yeah.
The family says exactly what I wrote, that she was fiercely loyal to him. Mm-hmm. She took food out, dropped it off for him. Anybody, attacked him for his mental illness and stuff, she was on him right away. I did not get that read from the family at all.
Yeah,
I did get it from the cops.
She enabled his needs.
Yes. And I mean, the family never mentioned that they were fighting or didn't like each other. It was completely the opposite. So her mother and her were in town one day, and they were driving back out to the house, and they come around the corner on a dirt road out by their house, because out in that area, it's all dirt roads. It's kind of like here, there's these subdivisions or whatever, but it's all dirt roads to get to them. Mm-hmm. Down in that area of Colorado, it's very much the same. In this area where they lived, I guess you could call it a subdivision. It's not really subdivision. It's just houses out in the hills, but it's very desolate. And so pulling over on one of those dirt roads, you're like away from everybody. Mm-hmm. So they come around a corner. There's a sheriff's deputy and known drug dealer parked on the side of the road. They witnessed the drug dealer handing the deputy an envelope. At that time, Candace loses it because she thinks she just witnessed a payoff.
Certain it wasn't a birthday party invitation.
Yeah. Then on August 10th, 2006, that same deputy pulls up to the Hiltz home. It's reported that that's Sergeant Trace Hall. I think that's the case, but later there will be some questions about that. So, but I believe that it was Sergeant Trace Hall. He pulls up, says that he's looking for Candace's brother, Jimmy Hiltz. And as we've said, Jimmy was 29 years old. He had severe mental illness, which included paranoia and delusions. And at the time, again, he was living in the woods full time. Hall claims that Jimmy's a suspect in a trespassing case. And as Dolores talks to Hall, she tells him, Jimmy's really not speaking to us right now. He's living in the woods. We haven't seen him. And her quote is, he looked at me and said, "You're a damn liar." And
wow,
Candace loses it. She overhears this. She doesn't like his tone. And so she steps in to defend Mama and starts yelling, "Get out." Hall threatens to arrest her. Candace puts her hands up and says, "Put the cuffs on me. I will scream to high heaven that I watched you taking bribes from drug dealers." And Dolores said as soon as Candace said that, he just turned around and walked away and got in his truck and drove off. Didn't say another word.
His need to be there wasn't so important.
Yeah, he deserted the area pretty quick, and that really brought all of that. Oh, wow, it was a bribe. Like what we thought we saw, we really did see.
If we're counting red flags.
Yeah. And then on August the 13th, which was 3 days after the confrontation with Sergeant Hall, the family's dog vanishes. You know, like we've said, they're rural. They're living out in the hills. So Dolores doesn't think much of it. She doesn't think it's criminal. She assumes that maybe a mountain lion got it or something like that. She had no way of knowing that this was a prelude. Then on August the 15th at 9 a.m., Dolores heads into town to run some errands. She needed to go to the bank, needed to stop at the store, and she figured that she'd be gone maybe 3 hours tops. So Candace decided to stay home with 11-month-old Paige. And this is the part where I say this is why I think Jesse was probably the father, because around noon he shows up. Probably not that likely that, I mean, if she's his girlfriend, he gets pregnant with another man's baby, probably not likely that he's still the boyfriend.
Yeah.
So I think that he was most likely the father, because he stops by and he finds baby Paige alone in the crib, crying, and there's no trace of Candace. So he calls Dolores, who rushes back home, and at 12:45, she walks in and sees the worst thing possible. There's blood pools by the fireplace. There's a trail of blood down the hall, smears of blood on the bedroom door. Paige is there safe, but Candace isn't. Dolores follows the blood trail to Candace's room. Green and navy comforter sticks out from under the bed, and propped up by a bloody computer speaker, she pulls on it and she finds Candace wrapped up tight. So she screams, calls 911, sheriff's deputies arrive, but it takes them over an hour to get there.
Because it's so secluded? Or because...
Well, I don't know, because, so as you know, I was on the fire department here, and this is the largest department in the country. It is not at all unusual for us to respond 25 miles, which is how far they had to go. It don't take an hour running lights and sirens to get 25 miles. So they live 25 miles from town, and sure that sheriff's officers patrolled the area. I can't imagine that they were all in town. Canyon City has a police department as well, so Canyon City Police would cover in town. So the sheriff's office would just be patrolling the county around it. So I find it very unlikely they wouldn't have officers somewhere near the area. But even if not, why in the hell did it take them over an hour to run lights and sirens 25 miles? It's fishy as hell to me.
Because they were off somewhere collecting more envelopes.
Yeah.
Of birthday invitations.
Yeah. They do finally get there, and the scene is a mess, literally. After taking more than an hour to get there, deputies do a real bang-up job of investigating. So they don't tape it off. They don't secure the crime scene. Bullet casings, the bloody blanket, drag marks, all were left untouched, unphotographed for 3 days. Dolores...
Still letting people live in the house?
They're still living there. Dolores and Candace's brother Jonathan bagged the evidence themselves. They bagged the evidence and handed over to the sheriff's office. The lead investigator, Lieutenant Detective Robert Dodd, who is a real sorry son of a bitch.
I love how you say his name like it was alleged.
Oh,
Robert Dodd.
yeah. You're going to come to love this guy.
Okay.
Some say that he is actually the guy that clashed with Candace on the 10th, though Hall is the one that's named in the report. And in interviews with Dolores, she doesn't give that indication. So that's why I tend to believe that it was actually Hall and not Dodd. But because it's out there, it's worth mentioning that some are saying that it was Dodd that day. You'll see why I have reason to question absolutely everything and why I love Robert Dodd so much.
I feel the love.
I believe approximately zero what comes from the Fremont County Sheriff's Office. And that's overstating.
Okay.
The body shows extensive damage. The autopsy, which wasn't released until 2017, but it details the damage. So there was a blast from a .410 shotgun to her face, 5 .22 caliber rounds to the back of her head, and a .45 long Colt revolver slug to her chest. So 6 headshots, 1 heart shot. They all came from different angles. So there was overkill from 2 angles,
this tiny
from the
girl.
front and the back. What strikes me about this is that the cops expect us to believe, and yes, they do, because I watched an interview with one of the investigators who said exactly this. It's very possible that somebody came in with a shotgun, shot her in the face, and then lifted her shirt, grabbed a rifle, and shot her in the chest with the rifle, and then had a .22 pistol on his hip and rolled her over and shot her in the back of the head with the pistol. That is not a direct quote, but it's pretty damn close.
But why?
They want us to believe that somebody came into a house, loaded down with at least 3 guns, and started shooting Candace.
This acrobatic way.
And yeah, changing guns and changing angles.
Flinging her around like a rag doll.
Right. And then they changed guns again and finished her off. You know, in almost every case, and you know I'm a true crime nut, so I've watched, I've listened to, I've read literally hundreds of cases, and almost immediately when they recognize that there's 2 separate guns used at a scene, almost immediately they say they almost positively have multiple shooters.
Right.
Not this bunch of freaking asshats.
Yeah.
No. Oh no. It's one guy who comes in
Cirque du Soleil style.
Oh yeah, with his arsenal to kill this little 16-year-old girl.
I'm sorry, I just pictured the Cirque du Soleil and Arnold Schwarzenegger's Commando, like, put together.
This is about what they want us to believe. So, is it possible? Yeah, I guess it's possible.
I mean,
but what would be the point? What would be the point? They say that likely...
And how much time did this person think they had for these shenanigans? I mean...
I don't know. So like I said, you know, my experience looking into literally thousands of cases over the years have shown me that this, like I said, it should have been an immediate indication that there was more than one person involved.
Right.
A shotgun blast to the face, it would have been fatal all by itself.
Right.
5 .22 shots to the back of the head.
Jeez.
would have been fatal. And a .45 to the chest, which struck her the heart. So a .45 through the heart would have almost certainly been fatal instantly. So
she was an extraordinary girl, but I'm not going to claim that she would have lived through that.
Through any one of those, let alone all 3. And so it was beyond overkill and absolutely unnecessary for somebody to come loaded down with a shotgun, what the cops claim was a .45 rifle, which makes it even less likely than if it was a .45 handgun. But okay, so they claim it was a a shotgun, which is a long gun, 45, which they claim was a long gun, and then a 22 pistol. So there's absolutely no reason for this. To me, it points to at least two, but likely three separate shooters. Even with what I consider is clear evidence of multiple shooters, the brilliant investigators focus on brother Jimmy immediately. He's missing. He's paranoid. He's apparently linked to a burglary days prior. He's said to have stolen hatchets and a flashlight from a neighbor. And some claim that he apparently stole a 410 shotgun, which a 410 was used in this. And so a 3-day manhunt kicks off.
But did they claim after they heard about this, or was that claim?
You're going to find that everything about this case claim, because of the bang-up job these dipshit investigators did investigating this case and keeping track of the evidence, we can't say anything is fact, except these investigators are dipshits. We can say that is a fact.
Claims of convenience.
Yeah. Obviously, I get a little heated about this case.
Yeah. Guys, don't get him riled up. Goodness.
So on August 18th, Jimmy is found in the mountains near Canyon City. He's living in the wild, and he's arrested for burglary, but not murder. There were no guns found on him, despite the Fremont County Sheriff's Office warning that he was armed with a 22 rifle, which they claim he stole a 410 shotgun, but yet he's armed and dangerous with a 22 rifle. Cops are saying she was shot with a 22 pistol, but yeah, somebody else is going to have to figure it all out because none of it makes sense to me.
Math is not mathing.
Dolores insists that Jimmy would not hurt Candy and he'd only enter an empty house.
Yeah, because people.
Right. And his mental state backs her up on that. Jimmy was much too unstable to carry out a carefully planned hit, and the murder of Candy was obviously planned and carried out by individuals that were not in the midst of a psychotic break. Even though the evidence didn't point towards Jimmy, and actually, in my opinion, it pointed directly away from Jimmy and towards multiple gunmen, the Fremont County Sheriff's Office got tunnel vision. It was Jimmy, and the case stalled. There was clearly only one motive here, and that was murdering Candace, period. There was no robbery. There was no sexual assault. Paige was left. She was fine. Candace was brutally murdered. That was it. That was the only reason. Meanwhile, we can't forget the missing dog. So as they're searching for Jimmy, a quarter of a mile away from the house, they find the dog tied to a tree. And he had been hacked to death with an axe or a hatchet. So the timing of the dog's disappearance is beyond eerie, because he went missing only 2 days before the murder. And Dolores said that nobody could come near that house with that dog, because that dog would at least bark like crazy. I don't know if he was aggressive and would bite, but he would definitely bark like crazy. So was this a warning, the dog disappearing? Was it a setup? To me, it seems as though Stranger knew what he or what they were going to do. They knew the dog would likely cause an issue and probably would defend Candy. Even if the dog wasn't known to bite or be aggressive, if they come in and started attacking Candy, he's probably going to bite him. And so the dog had to go. So I believe that they lured the dog away, killed it to make the planned murder go more smoothly. And this is yet another piece that points away from Jimmy, because Jimmy belonged to the family. And even if he was living out in the woods, he knew the dog.
And the dog knew him.
And the dog knew him. Unlike a stranger, Jimmy doesn't need to get rid of the dog. If it would have been Jimmy, which I think I've made it obvious that I in no way believe it was, but if it would have been Jimmy, it would have been in the midst of a psychotic break where it wouldn't have been, I'm planning to do this in 2 days, and it would have been, he went to the house, they got in a fight, he broke and killed her.
And killed the dog at the same time, if needed.
If necessary.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there is nothing in this story to me that points to Jimmy in any way, shape, or form. But the astounding police work of the Fremont County Sheriff's Office went exactly where you'd expect it to. Absolutely nowhere. Eventually, the investigation fizzled out. Evidence sat untouched, not looked at all.
Because they're not even the ones that collected it, so they don't care what it is.
Leads dry up, if there was any. And for 10 years, it just sat cold. Then, on December 17th, 2016... I
feel like I need to enter dun dun dun.
It is a dun 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 moment. A guy by the name of Rick Radsclaff. He's a Canyon City local. He has a beef against the Fremont County Sheriff's Office. And he bids either $50 or $80, I heard both, on an abandoned storage unit at Dawson Ranch Mini Storage in Canyon City. He said that, they open the door. You've seen those storage auctions. Mm-hmm. They open the door, you peer inside, and he saw a whole bunch of cop lights, like off the top of a car.
Yeah.
And he said that a lot of the guys said, oh, it's illegal to own those, so I'm not going to bid on it. So he got it
cheap,
really cheap, because nobody else wanted it. So he placed the winning bid on the abandoned unit, and after that, he begins to dig into his treasure. He sees, like I said, stacks of red and blue lights from the tops of cop cars. And he finds a whole pile of sheriff's uniforms, and they have a name badge on them. And the name on those badges?
Dun dun.
Robert Dodd. The same Robert Dipshit Dodd who was the Fremont County Sheriff's Office lead investigator on Candy's murder. The same Robert Dodd who is said to have possibly been the one that Candace confronted and accused of taking bribes. And along with the lights and the uniforms, Ratcliffe also came across some manila envelopes were labeled evidence. And he picks up one of them, and a bloody axe falls out. A bloody hatchet falls out. And in another, there's a blood-soaked rope. There's some bloody socks, a green backpack with blood on it, a bloody shirt. And the guy he's stunned, which I think anybody would be.
Right.
And, I mean, the guy does the responsible thing, and he calls the sheriff's office, and Sheriff John Biker, I think is how you say it. I think it's Jim Biker, and Commander Jeff Worley show up on December 30th. So, luckily, he doesn't trust them. So, he decides that he's going to record them. I love this guy. He's awesome.
Now, do you have to tell them? Is that a state where you have to tell them that you're being recorded?
I'm almost 100% positive that Colorado's a one-party consent state, okay. So you can do it without.
I'm always going to ask you that. So.
Yep, it's a good thing to know. But anyway, even if it wasn't, though, they are law enforcement in official.
Yeah, that's
acting
different
in
too,
official
isn't it?
capacity. So in every state, you can legally videotape law enforcement. And he does. And per the Denver Post, Sheriff Biker says, this is odd. Really odd.
You think?
Eyeing the bloody backpack and Candace's shirt. And
just odd.
He hints that it's case related. And then they warn Ratcliffe that his life is in danger. He's skeptical, and he asks why there would be murder evidence in a storage unit. Why would dipshit Dodd not pay the bill?
Yeah.
And Biker...
Well, why's the state not paying the bill? I mean, wouldn't that be...
If it was official evidence, they would be.
It would be if it was state's evidence.
Oh, but it gets worse.
Okay.
So Biker takes it to the evidence locker, and finally, the Colorado Bureau of Investigation steps in January 2017, and Dodd was placed on paid leave on January 1st, and then he will go on to retire on April 23rd after 25 years. But when later speaking to the chieftain, Dolores, frustrated, says that Dodd stole it to protect himself or someone. The shirt is confirmed to be Candace's, and it was identified in 2006. The axe and the rope are tied to the attack on the dog.
Wonderful.
The socks match blood that was found at the scene. So why did Dodd hoard it? Theories fly about a cover-up and corruption, and CBI probes Dodd and the Fremont County Sheriff's Office handling of the entire case. Let's shift to May 2017, a moment that cracks the Candace Hiltz case wide open again. And not with a breakthrough arrest, but with a dumpster dive to a literal landfill of secrets. So we're at the Phantom Landfill in Penrose, Colorado, which is about 10 miles east of Canyon City in Fremont County. The Phantom Landfill is a sprawling dump where trash from the region piles up, a place that you'd never think would be holding clues to a murder.
That shouldn't be holding clues to a murder.
On May 17th, 2017, a worker by the name of Robert Orton stumbles onto something that reignites the Hiltz family fury and exposes a deeper rot in the Fremont County Sheriff's Office. This isn't just about Candace anymore. It is a pattern, a scandal, and evidence that should have been locked away, not tossed out. So let's unpack every shred that we know about what was found in the landfill. And it's important to note that Robert Orton called a reporter and was like, I don't want to get fired, but there's all this stuff. And yeah, so first the context. It's been 5 months since December when Rick Ratcliffe bought dipshit Dodd's abandoned storage unit and found a bloody axe, rope, socks, Candace's shirt, all the evidence from her 2006 murder, stashed like forgotten junk. Dodd's on paid leave at this time. January 1st, 2017, the Colorado Bureau of Investigation is digging into that whole mess. Hiltz family is screaming cover-up. And now we're in May. Phantom landfill worker walks in for a routine shift, and he's sorting through a dumpster that's been hauled in from a residence, which was later tied to Dodd's address. And what he finds isn't trash. It's a trove of evidence. Some of it linked to Candace, but some to other cases. And it's all dumped in a dumpster in the landfill. So what's in it? So let's catalog it piece by piece.
I kind of feel like you need to take a woo-saw before you do this.
I don't even think that would help.
Or I need to, because I'm throwing things around.
Maybe you need to.
We're fighting mad here, folks.
So, first, we got stacks of paperwork, including crime reports, some dated 2003, 2006, signed by Dodd himself. And these aren't just notes. They're the official Fremont County Sheriff's Office documents. Case files that should have been in an evidence locker, not in a landfill. And then he finds a laptop computer. We don't know the brand, and we don't know the condition, but it's flagged as potential evidence. And it could hold digital records of Candace's case or some other case. No one's saying CBI took it. The results are sealed.
Who shot Kennedy could be in there?
Who knows? Next, there's a tackle box that's labeled Fremont County Sheriff's Office Crime Scene Unit Forensic Lights. And this was specialized lighting gear for finding blood, fibers, prints at crime scenes. Why is it here? Was it used at Candace's scene? We don't know. But it's damn sure not trash, and it belonged to the county. And it was a tool of justice, yet it's discarded with the rest of the trash.
I think Dodd's GPS was messed up and took him to the landfill instead of the evidence locker.
Oh, no. It took him to his house where he ordered a dumpster, threw all of this stuff in it, and then called the landfill to come pick it up. The big one, though, there were numerous videotapes, at least a dozen, or at least dozens, maybe more, and they were marked as interviews with victims.
Oh, jeez.
Robert Orton told CBS Colorado that it had the names of victims on the tapes. It's beyond careless. And these aren't home movies. They're from sexual assault cases.
Oh, no.
Some of the victims are under the age of 18, and this is spanning back over years. Robert Orton said he was pulling out the statements out of the envelopes, and you could see where little kids had drawn with crayon to describe the assaults that had occurred and stuff.
Oh, man.
This is like, you can't be any more scandalized by something than that. This is about as bad as it gets.
Yeah.
So Dolores, Candace's mom, raged to CBS 4 later that that's 20 young girls, some under 18. Disgusting that he hasn't been charged with that.
Yeah.
It's unclear if any of these tapes contained any interviews pertaining to Candace's case. Hers wasn't a sexual assault case, but the timing and the presence of 2006 files in that mix raises all kinds of questions. Were these tossed to hide something bigger? Chieftain adds that an envelope with potential criminal investigation paperwork and a tape specifically about a sexual offense probe was found, and the details are fuzzy but chilling and damn sure maddening.
I can't even sit still from this. I've been just moving constantly.
Oh, yeah. And what's worse is you find out that, a lot of this stuff couldn't then be prosecuted because the statute of limitations had run because, and so, yeah, it is beyond sick. And it gets worse. So.
Oh, joy. Okay.
Where did all this evidence end up at the landfill? Well, like I said, it was taken from a dumpster that Dodd had ordered to his former residence, filled up before he moved to Texas. And this was confirmed by the landfill staff to the chieftain on December 26, 2017. Dodd had retired on April 23rd, 2017, after the storage unit fiasco, and he'd moved to Texas by May. So this wasn't a sheriff's office dumpster. It was Dodd's personal trash from his house. Horton and a friend, Lisa Harmon, start collecting it, and Harmon told the Daily Record that she tried calling District Attorney Molly Chilson, but got her voicemail, so they kept digging. And they had all the evidence that they had collected and handed it over to CBI, who'd already charged Dodd on May 4th with abuse of public records and 2 counts of official misconduct for the storage unit. Yes.
So he was charged, but then got to move?
Yeah. And that's the part that's worse and is the most maddening of all. So now a second CBI probe is opened on June 9th, and that one deals with the landfill evidence, and it's separate but obviously linked. Right. Candace's autopsy, which was finally released on January 25th, 2017, showed 7 shots, 3 guns, at least 2 angles. Could the landfill hold the smoking gun? Maybe a .22 casing? .45 caliber slug. Anything that was missed or ignored in 2006. Sheriff Jim Biker, the Fremont County Sheriff's Office, is scrambling at this point. He cataloged the storage unit stuff in December, handed it over to CBI on January 3rd, 2017. Now this. Dodd's lawyer, Randy Jorgensen, pushed to dismiss the charges, claiming that it's all a big misunderstanding. Dodd told CBI that he kept storage items to take more photos later, but he never did. So what does he say about it ending up in the landfill? Well, he's silent on that point. No DNA tests. He just doesn't say anything.
I know.
No DNA tests from either haul. And Judge Lynette Warner in 2020 noted that Dodd never obtained DNA tests, meaning potential relevant evidence was lost because by this point, there's a couple of things going on. The worst is it was found that the DNA was too badly degraded to test now. But the second thing is you've got a major chain of custody issue at this point. Somebody's DNA shows up on something, all they got to say is, well, yeah, I threw away my bloody towel in the dump from when I cut my finger and somehow it got on the axe or what. You've got a huge problem making a case at this point. So was Dodd busy burying a more extensive network? Was Candace right with her accusations? Was there a drug network operating in the area and paying off the sheriff department deputies? Perhaps the sheriff himself. Was her tragic death the result of a deputy's revenge, shutting her up before she could blow the lid off of the corruption? The Hiltzes sure think so. And in 2017, 11 deputies are placed on leave for various scandals.
Cleaning house.
So let's quickly dive into these cases just to understand the caliber of people that we have working at the Fremont County Sheriff's Office at the time of Candy's murder. As we said, 2017, the Fremont County Sheriff's Office faced a series of scandals that resulted in at least 11 deputies being placed on administrative leave, eroding public trust, and drawing intense scrutiny to Sheriff Jim Biker and his leadership. This wasn't a single event, but a cascade of incidents, some criminal, some procedural, spanning allegations of evidence tampering, child abuse, misuse of force, and internal misconduct. So by year's end, the Fremont County Sheriff's Office was a lightning rod, with the Fremont Freedom Fighters launching a failed recall effort against Biker and the community reeling from the fallout. So let's dissect each known case that led to the deputies being sidelined. We've got Robert Dodd.
Your favorite.
The evidence hoarding scandal, January 2017. His date of leave is January 1st. The outcome, Dodd retired April 23rd, 2017. Before facing full consequences on May 4th, 2017, DA Molly Chilson charged him with abuse of public records, which is a misdemeanor, 2 counts of official misconduct, which are petty offenses, for altering the case files post-discovery, which is something that I mentioned, but I didn't explain. So after the storage unit was made public, dipshit Dodd goes to the sheriff's office and alters the evidence record in Candace's murder case to now reflect the evidence that was stored at the storage unit because he knew he'd been discovered. Mm-hmm. And so that's where the petty offenses of altering case files comes. He did it at least 2, if not 3 separate times. He altered her case files.
So many
10 years later, he knew what evidence was in that storage unit. He knew what case it was linked to.
And he got slapped on the hand.
Yeah, if you even call it that. He pleaded guilty on June 28th, and he got 15 days in jail 165 suspended, and $1,000 fine. Yeah, it was
broke
light.
Now
The family was outraged. So then, by July of 2017, like we said, at least 11 deputies had been placed on leave. Dodd, Briscoe, Hart, Tilley, Matson, Cock, Brassfield, and 4 that were unnamed. Over half the damn patrol division at times. And that is not an exaggeration. So it's not a large department. And like I said, I think that it was 35 total officers. And then you got to take out jail staff, which is significant. But then you got to take it out by shift. It's not like you have 34 officers on 24 hours a day.
Right.
Some of those are covering days. Some of them are covering nights. I don't know if they do like they do here and work 12s or if they do 3 shifts. I don't know. But this is a huge number of deputies for this force.
Now, was it paid leave? Were they getting paid to sit in?
All of them. Yeah, it cost the county.
My apologies for that noise, folks.
It cost the county like over $100,000 total paid leave. So, yeah. So, like I said, this includes both the jail and patrol officers, investigative staff. Today, in April of 2025, almost 20 years after Candace's murder, there have been no arrests in the case. Jimmy's still at the Colorado Mental Health Institute in Pueblo, and he's become a peer counselor since 2017, and he's doing great.
So he's
very active, helping a lot of people.
He's dealing with people.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I mean, everything I heard about him is he's doing great. And you look at pictures of him, he's clean cut, smile on his face. He just looks like he's really doing good.
Nice.
And the family's theory of the case agrees with mine. There were at least 2 shooters. I think 3, but at least 2. And this theory is backed up, in my opinion, by the autopsy's findings of gunshots from both Candace's front and back, the landfill's sex assault tapes, at least 20 victims still linger unsolved.
That's sad.
Candace's case is a whisper, supposedly active, but frozen, wound unhealed, justice denied. What's Candace's legacy? Prodigy lost. Think of it. Calculus at 11, Stanford at 16, a Supreme Court dream snuffed out. Fremont County remembers her. Her story's taught in local criminology classes.
Really? Good.
Yep. True crime keeps her alive. Reddit's Unresolved Mysteries, Wicked and Grim in 2024. Us amplifying the cover-up. But justice, it remains elusive. As of today, Candace's case is CBI's. The Fremont County Sheriff's Office is a bystander. And the county's moved on. Sort of. What are my thoughts on the story? Well, I think I made a lot of my thoughts clear throughout this episode, but I think there's way too much here for it to have been innocent or accidental, and I'm talking about the evidence. We know that there was corruption in Fremont County Sheriff's Office. It's clear. I believe that at least some officers were involved with and taking bribes from local drug dealers. And what Candace and her mom witnessed was most likely a payoff. Unfortunately, Candace was full of piss and vinegar, and she was afraid of no one. She let the cat out of the bag when she accused whichever deputy it was that was there of taking a bribe. And I think that either Deputy Hall or Deputy Dodd then went to the other members of the conspiracy. My guess is that the drug dealers are the ones that were tasked with making the hit. The deputies would respond and would be the ones that would be investigating it, making sure that their little Southern Colorado crime syndicate stayed intact.
Good old boys club.
Yep. Knew the dog was going to be a problem, so days before, they killed the dog to make it easier, and then they waited for the right opportunity. Dolores left to run some errands, and I think at least 3 men entered her home. When Candace confronted them, they shot her. After she had fallen, they rolled her over and executed her with a shot to the face. Then they hid the body and left, and the plan went just as they expected. Partners on the sheriff's department botched the investigation, lost and or stole evidence to ensure that it would never be solved. This is a story that would fit better in a tale of the New York Mafia than in small town Canyon City, Colorado.
I keep forgetting we're in Colorado.
Yeah. Cops on the take and protecting the bad guys, possibly involved in the murder itself. It did happen. Tiny desert town in southern Colorado, though. This isn't a big city story. That's where we land. The brutal murder of Candace Hiltz left unsolved. Possibly left unsolvable due to the extreme mishandling of every aspect of the investigation. Fremont County left scarred but standing. Since 2017, it's been fits and starts. Dodd's fall, Cooper's rise, a family's unyielding cry. What's next? My fear is that this case will remain forever unsolved. Even if they had found DNA evidence pointing to the killer, it would have likely been tossed out of court because of how badly it was mishandled. The chain of custody wasn't just broken, it was blown completely apart. The evidence wasn't found in the back of a drawer in the basement of the sheriff's office.
Was it ever even together to begin with?
Yeah, it was found in the damn landfill.
Yeah.
So, like I said earlier, any potential suspect would and could claim that their DNA came from the landfill, not from the crime.
And in the future, they can still claim that.
Absolutely. And as far as we know, DNA wasn't found, but even if it had been, I think it would have been a loss because of that. Dodd deserves to be locked up with the key thrown away, even if he wasn't involved in the crime, though I think he was. But the damage that he did was every bit as great. Victims of murder and sexual assault were left without justice and without the possibility of justice. All because of this moron's criminality or incompetence. Either way, he may as well have had committed the crimes, and his behavior ensures that the victims are re-victimized over and over and over again. The fact that he is out living his life is just another slap in the face. And this is to me, a dumbass podcaster. I can't imagine what it is for her poor family and for the families of all the sexual assault victims as well.
But see, that's also highlights why sexual assault victims don't come forward.
Exactly. Yes.
Nothing happens, whether it's lost, can't be proven.
Yep. So here we stand, nearly 19 years since Candace Hiltz's light was extinguished in that Copper Gulch home. Her brilliance silenced by 7 bullets and a decade of shadows. Her family still searches. Fremont County still bears the scars, and we, listeners, still grapple with the why. Why a prodigy's dream ended. Why justice slips through the cracks of a small town secrets. The evidence sits with CBI. Robert Dodd fades into obscurity. Jimmy Hills remains a question mark in Pueblo's quiet wards. Candace's story isn't over. It's a plea etched in the wind of those Colorado woods. Call for someone, somewhere, to find the truth. She was a daughter, mother, a sister, force lost, but not forgotten. As we close this story, let her echo stay with you. Candace Hiltz dreamed of the Supreme Court, of righting wrongs, and maybe, in her absence, she's asking us to do the same. World of mysteries, some fade, but hers burns on. Hold your loved ones close tonight and keep asking why. For young mother Candace Hiltz, for justice, for the shadows that still whisper, for the voices, all the voices. This is John.
And this is Angela.
And until next time, this is Dark Dialogue.